Hello everybody, welcome. You should be able to see my screen by now. Fingers crossed, let me know if you can't. And can you hear me okay? Sound check and vision check. Thank you, you can. Good. Okay, appreciate that. Hi Mary, good to see you on. Okay, got hopefully a good one for you, but I am hoping also to keep it short. It's a space issue, to be honest. I've still got to organise that, what's the word? Partition drive thing. Anyway, hello Petra, hello Mary, hello everybody, welcome. In the year 2020, there were 287 cases of people dying by putting foreign objects into their bottoms. They were most probably men then, if that's what we can call them. Anyway, that was more people in a single year than those killed by assault rifles in the last 5 years. Human nature then, and the nature of a Todd. And I say it because sometimes humans, particularly men, according to a comedian I listened to recently, Catherine Ryan, was very, very funny on the stupidity of men. Thank you, Janelle. It's a very true thing, apparently. Anyway, so mostly traders, they are men, and we can be stupid as traders. That's the reality. And I want to review today human nature and the nature of a Todd. Reviewing the DAX lob, the DAX London Open breakout. How do we know if it's worth waiting for? Worth watching? Basically, we can predict to a high probability the good, the great, and also the bottom wiping bad. In other words, is it excessively off the table, invalidated by forces that were there to be seen? Now you can all see I've got a time on my screen. It's 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. is the London Open. I've got just one line on screen, and I like to put this line on my screen, or I like to observe the level somewhere, you see, 8:30 to 8:50, or 7:30 to 7:50, the 20 minutes before the London Open. And then as we get 10 minutes before, I can clone that line. And if I've covered the bottom, then I can look for the top. If I've covered the top, then I can look for the bottom. In this case, we seem to have found, with two low test bars, a bit of a bottom there. And if we look over here, we can already see that we've got a straight line and a little bit of divergence there with the lower lows on the line and perhaps equidistant lows on the MACD. Now, if we move across minute by minute, I'm not sure what the minute is, but there's 750, so it could be 751, 752. There's 753 or 54, 5, 6, 54. There you go. Now already we start to break out, but it's still, as you've seen from some of my live session videos, I think we've 2 up on YouTube, we need to wait until 8 and it's 54 there, 56, we go above, okay, and we can see that 360 there, and 360 we know is one of our levels, isn't it? So we can move that line up. 360 is a thing, 340 is a thing, 300 is a thing. If we break out below 320, we're buying after 8 p.m. Okay, we come back into the levels, cool, and there is the 8 o'clock bar closed on the line. If we move to 801, boom, we've gone above, and it's gone straight from 360 up to 400, a big round number, and rejected that obviously because it is a big round number and we often get a battle around there. Move across a bit further, an inside bar and a breakout, and more pips available, as you can see. Do we make it to 24.5? We do. 480. Sorry, that 500 disappeared off screen. We've probably hit the 500 there, but from 360 to 460 even is 100 pips. Now, if you're following my sessions regularly, you know that we have indicators on screen at the same time, which would indeed help us to see things like that. The only thing I'm hiding, well, I'm leaving the MACD on, but I'm hiding many of our indicators, obviously because this is public. Not every day it works out. So what I'll do is I'll zoom to today, and we'll go back to the 8 a.m. that was Monday morning, Monday the 9th of February, and here we are. There is 8 a.m. Oops, going a bit slower, my cursor there, and we can put lines on here. I want it big, but there, you know, there's the 720 bar, and we've got a low, we get new lows, so we have to put a low on that covers these lows. So there's the lows. Now I'm going to zoom in a bit so you can see it a bit better, move it across, and again we need to clone that bar and move it up to the highs. I'm looking across here, 720 to 750. There are the highs at 750. We can come down to those highs. Now, if we look at that, is there a period of range prior to 8 a.m.? It's a big question we have to ask. Is there a period of range prior to 8 a.m.? And we can see from these parallel lines that yes, there is. We've bounced between 24.8, let's say 8 because it's the big round number closest to 8.04, and approximately 8.40. Now I'm going to highlight 8.40 because those of you who follow me know that the 40s and the 60s, it's a thing. It really is a thing. And as we come back here towards 8 a.m., I would like people to have a look at something. I would like you to look at, what is that? It's a slightly higher low, isn't it? And what is that then, please, pray tell? It's definitely a lower low, isn't it? Over another higher low within the indicator. The lines higher. So we've got some divergence within the indicator as we go into 8 a.m. The other thing to note there is that we don't break below this level here, but we do break above this level here. And we have our hopper that we like very much. And if we look at this, we can say 840 would have been an in, and there's reason to take pips around the 900. So there are 60 pips in there. We could fib that. We know there are at least 3 greens, so we could fib that. But there's some more divergence, and of course the beautiful MACD scalper pattern where we break out, and we could probably go in again once we go above that big round number for a run up to 940 as a target. It didn't quite make the 960, so I'd suggest you be out somewhere around here. But 840 to 900 is 60 pips, 900 to 940 is 40 pips, and there then this morning, there we're offered to those of our members who know about the DAX lob a potential 100 pips in 2 moves. Never am I going to say, oh, just hold it through the pullback. Absolutely not. I don't do it myself. I wouldn't expect you to. Now let's try, if I can, find one that was rubbish. And to be honest, when I scrolled and looked at this morning, initially I thought that was rubbish, but I'll scroll back to Friday. I don't trade on a Friday, but let's find 8 a.m. on the Friday. I'm still on a 1 minute. Yes, I am indeed. 9, 8, 7 p.m. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Here we go, 8. Now, if we take 8 off screen, like that, and zoom in a bit, again, we want our lines, and I'm looking between 720 and 750, and I can pop a line because there is a clear bottom, isn't it? Right there, we found a bottom, and your 10-year-old's probably having a grin at that too. Janelle, we found the bottom. I do like bottoms, especially shapely ones. Now we can go and clone the line. Apologies, everybody. I will try and keep my head in the game. Hi, Sakti, you're right. And we go and we find the upper section. Then we move and we look for where does it break after 8. It broke early and it's struggling at 840. We got higher highs, we've got lower highs. There's some divergence here. So as we go into the 8 a.m. bar, we know this one isn't so clean. This one isn't so safe. We ping and go through the bottom. The divergence would have helped us take the sell. I would suggest that because that's 502, I would suggest that we should be looking at just below the big round number to check that we're not stalling there, and we could probably have placed an order there as we go up and we see that divergence, we can ignore the buy and place the sell order at 499, 498 or something, and then we would be looking for the usual suspects, the 460, the 440. We've probably hit both of them, and then we go back into this sort of level again where we're at that range. My point is, we can see when it's not behaving, and I'm going to try and find a day when it was not behaving. I know there were some, because I did scroll back through several days to have a proper good look. I'm not sure what day this is, but I need to find that hour that is 7 to 8 a.m. and there it is. There's the 8, and we can see that one didn't behave itself. So I'm making it big. I'm going to move 8 o'clock off screen. Have I moved 8 o'clock off screen? I have, yes. There, I'm looking for 750. There's 750. So if we were to draw our lines, how far apart would we need to be? We got a 660 at the bottom. Good. What have we got at the top? How far away from us is that top? And it is 690. So there's 30 pips in there. We can see there's convergence. We got lower highs, lower highs. Let's move across. Before 8, we've already broken out. Now, if you watch some of my live trading sessions, the snippets of live trading, you know, if we break out of that line before I normally say the US Open, because it's the US Open that we've got a couple of live sessions on. If we break out beforehand, we're not touching that. So those pips, those 60 pips, they're not ours unless we were brave enough to go in early with our indicators and use that then as an invalidation level. We go below it. If we come back above it immediately after 8, we should close that trade out for the small gain, the small loss, whatever it is. In this case, if we did go in with the indicators, it is a hopper, in fairness. So there is potential to take the 60 pips, but it's not a London breakout, a London Open breakout. And the reason it isn't is because we broke early. We broke out before the 8 a.m. bar. That's a thing. It's a real thing. It's something that we do look at and we do ideally observe. The other thing we wanted to do today is, and I'll change the market, I'll go to the Dow, I'll go to as at now, and I'll zoom in a bit so that we can see it. We're going to look at bar or candle patterns today. What do they tell us and how do they help us as an alongside our indicators kind of thing, if you like. That's zoomed enough. And have I got you squished up or something? You just look squished up. We've got a very big bar there, probably news. We would call that a BFO, wouldn't we? A big F off bar. And we probably wouldn't play the game anymore with that. We've got some divergence here. And here we've got also their 1 minute bars. So they're tweezer tops, a green one, a red one on the right, tweezer tops. We break out below it. Was there divergence? Yes, higher highs, lower highs, and some divergence within the indicator, and the potential to go from this sort of one, I wouldn't say 170, but below 160. We know the 60s and the 40s are a thing, all the way down to the 100. So there's potential for 100 pips there, just based on price action and divergence and tweezer tops. Here are some tweezer bottoms. Again, tweezer bottoms, one red, one. The green one on the right, because we want green, we want red on the right if we're selling, we want green on the right if we're buying. So tweezer bottoms with lower lows and higher lows over lower lows. Some more divergence within the indicator. And then if we were to put a crosshair on that and just have a look at the levels, let's see, do we reject a big round number? If you look at my crosshairs over to the right, it says 50,100. So we have divergence. We have the rejection of a line. And you're probably going to say, what line, James? Just for the newbies, for anyone who's not familiar with our stuff, that line there, it's a big round number. 50,100 is a big round number, and we've rejected it. And then we've got an RTF, reverse trigger finger, with green down here, and a move up. We've got to 50,140, and then a move up to 160 with a sort of a shoulder, head and shoulder. My mouse goes a bit slow there for some reason. Shoulder, head, shoulder, right there. A bit of an inverse, head and shoulders. And there it is. There are the, I want to put my little smiley face on here, you know. He's upside down because he's doing a handstand. But you got a chance with an inside bar and a breakout of that inside bar to take those pips there as well. And the pips down. So that's very briefly a few snippets of the kind of things we use on a regular basis within our sessions. I'm going to end the recording because it's 15 minutes and a little bit. And then if you guys who are online with me right now have any questions, you can fire away with those. I like to throw in a bit of humour, hence that 2020 issue there. Just because learning can be fun, learning can be interesting. It doesn't have to be all add this up and copy down those examples kind of thing, you know. So for anybody watching the recording, please trade safe, and I look forward to seeing you on the next live session. Bye bye.